Welcome to FrontEndSystemsLab, a channel where we explore what's going on under the hood of modern web development. Today, we take an under-the-hood look at Claude's new automated feature called computer use. Imagine opening your phone, typing, run the onboarding flow tests, and screenshot any failures, putting your phone in your pocket and walking to get coffee. By the time you're back, Claude has opened your Electron app, clicked through every screen, and left you a folder of annotated screenshots. That's not a concept anymore. That's Claude computer use, and it shipped just weeks ago. Today, we're breaking down exactly how it works, the real dev use cases worth your time, where it falls short, and how it stacks up against the competition. Let's get into it. So first, what actually is Claude computer use? At its core, it's an agentic feature that lets Claude directly control your desktop. We're talking your browser, your mouse, your keyboard, your screen. It launched on March 23, 2026 as a research preview, and it lives inside two products: Claude Cowork and Claude Code. The idea is that when Claude doesn't have a dedicated connector for a task, instead of just stopping and saying, "I can't do that," it falls back to doing what any human would do. It looks at your screen and starts clicking. It also pairs with a feature called Dispatch, which lets you message Claude from your phone and have it execute tasks on your computer while you're away from your machine. Right now, it's available on Claude Pro at $20 a month and Claude Max at $100 to $200 a month. And for now, it's macOS only. Windows support is expected to follow, but there's no firm date yet. Now let's talk about how this actually works under the hood, because this is where it gets interesting for developers. To set it up in Claude Code, you enable the computer use MCP server using the /mcp command in an interactive session. You'll need macOS accessibility and screen recording permissions granted, and you need to be on Claude Code version 2.1.85 or later. Once you're running, there are some important guardrails to know about. Claude works one session at a time. Apps are hidden while it works, the terminal is excluded from its screenshots so it can't read back its own command history, and at any point you can hit escape to immediately abort whatever Claude is doing. There's also a per-app permission system. Before Claude touches a new application, it asks you first, and by default, sensitive apps like investment platforms and crypto wallets are blocked entirely. Claude's overall philosophy is connector first. If there's a dedicated integration, say Gmail, Google Drive, or Slack, it uses that instead of screen control. Screen control is the fallback, not the default. That's an important distinction. All right, let's get into the real dev use cases, because this is the meat of why you'd actually want this. The first one is building and validating native apps. Let's say you ask Claude to build a macOS menu bar app. It doesn't just write the Swift code and hand it back to you. It compiles the app, launches it, and then clicks through every control to verify it actually works before you've even opened it yourself. That's a fundamentally different workflow than what we've had before. The second use case is end-to-end UI testing. Point Claude at a local Electron app and say, "Test the onboarding flow." It opens the app, clicks through sign up, and screenshots each step automatically. No test framework setup, no Selenium config, no Playwright scripts to write first. Third is visual debugging. Tell Claude the modal is clipping on small windows. It resizes the window, reproduces the bug, screenshots it, patches the CSS, and then verifies the fix. That full loop, which normally takes 20 minutes of back and forth, now happens in one prompt. And fourth, this opens up GUI-only tools that have no API and no CLI. Design tools, hardware control panels, the iOS simulator, proprietary enterprise software. If a human can click it, Claude can now click it too. Now let's compare it to the competition, because you've probably heard of other options in this space. OpenClaw is free, open source, and model agnostic, meaning you can plug in whatever AI model you want. It runs locally, which some developers prefer for privacy reasons. The trade-off is more setup complexity and some security concerns that have been flagged by researchers at Palo Alto Networks. OpenAI has Operator and now Codex, Perplexity has their own computer use feature, and Meta has been working in this space too. What differentiates Claude's approach is the connector-first architecture I mentioned earlier, combined with the financial and sensitive app blocking by default. That last part matters a lot for teams where you're running this in a shared or production environment. It's not just raw capability, it's capability with guardrails built in. Okay, risks and limitations, and I want to be straight with you here, because this matters. This is running on your actual desktop, not an isolated sandbox or a virtual machine. That means actions Claude takes in one app can cascade into others in ways you might not expect. Prompt injection is a real attack vector, meaning malicious content in a web page or document could theoretically instruct Claude to take actions you didn't authorize. Anthropic says they scan for this, but they're also upfront that it's still early days. Complex multi-step tasks sometimes need a second try, and screen navigation is inherently slower than direct API integrations. Anthropic themselves recommend avoiding sensitive personal data while this is in the research preview stage. Treat it like you'd treat any beta tool running with elevated permissions on your machine. Use it with intention, not blindly. So is it worth it for developers right now? My take, yes, with caveats. If you do any amount of UI testing, native app development, or need to automate GUI-only workflows, this is genuinely useful today. The visual debugging loop alone could save hours every week. What I'm watching for going forward, Windows support, which would open this up to a much larger developer base, looser restrictions on financial tools for power users who need them, and reliability improvements on longer, more complex task chains. That's where the real potential unlocks. If you try it, drop your use case in the comments. I'm especially curious about anyone using it for hardware tooling or proprietary enterprise software, because that's the category I think has the most untapped potential. Thanks for watching Front-End Systems Lab. Please subscribe for more under the hood developer content, and I'll see you in the next one.